Thank you, Urena. So good evening, everyone. So I am the mother of an 18-month-old little girl, as you just heard, who is the light of my life and the biggest challenge I've ever had. I'll be honest, I've been in education for almost 10 years now, so I kind of thought having a kid wouldn't be the hardest thing. I quickly learned that counseling 12-year-olds looks very different than chasing toddlers. But there are a few things I've picked up along the way. Her no means no, her yes means no, and her silence is something we should all be worried about. It is quite a roller coaster, but there's one thing that I have figured out and got nailed down, and that is that I can never condemn something that I want her to avoid. That only makes it more appealing. I can instead invite her to something different. So I can't say, don't touch the trash can. I have to say, let's go play with the blocks. And I quickly learned that I think all of us are a bit like this. No one likes to be shamed and guilted away from something. Instead, we would like to be invited into something different. And so that's what I'm hoping our time together is tonight, is that we can invite one another into a time of reflection on what we can do to have more inclusive communities that support diversity. So tonight we are going to be looking at two different paths and the atmospheres that they create. So the first path is one that has the potential to limit or stifle diversity within our communities. The other is something that the perspectives and choices that allow people to celebrate, strengthen, promote diversity and inclusion within our communities. Now, before we get started on each of those paths, I need you to pinky promise me something. Pinky promises are very important where I come from. It's like the highest form of commitment, so promise me something. That if we are having a conversation and reflecting on things that choices and decisions and perspectives that can limit or stifle diversity, pinky promise me that you won't beat yourself up if you've done any of those things. We are all here to grow. We are all here to get better. Shame and guilt, we're not invited to TEDx tonight, and so you have to pinky promise me that you won't allow them to join the party. Is that a deal that we have? Pinky promises. Deal. Perfect. So I am going to be speaking from the perspectives of these two trains of thought, and I will be putting myself in those shoes. So don't get confused if it seems like I'm promoting something that I'm actually not. You'll see what I mean. So without further ado, we will discuss 10 thoughts and perspectives and choices that we can make that have the potential to limit and stifle diversity within our communities. 1, curiosity as the driver of conversations. So curiosity as the driver of a conversation can look something like this. Your name is beautiful. Where are you from? Like Cincinnati, but like, where are you really from? Like, another ethnicity somewhere in there, hair a little bit, you know what I mean, like, where are you really, really from? That's how curiosity can drive a conversation. 2, saying everything that's on your mind. So we've all been in conversations where we have a thought, a response, a comment, and a conversation. And we all know what it's like when it gets just a little too quiet in a conversation, just way too quiet. Well, whose job is it to fill the silence? Your job. It is always your job. There are such things as diversity of thought and allowing other people to have a chance to share, but isn't your voice just as important as everyone else's voice in the room? Always, always, always share whatever you have to say. 3, the best way to make someone feel comfortable is to make them feel as different as possible. So what I want you to do is to think about the food, the holidays, the traditions that seem really, really strange to you and hone in on all of them in your conversations with people. It makes them feel really appreciated. 4, know that language for groups of people and communities will change a lot over time. That's honestly a lot to keep up with. You don't need to learn all of those things. It kind of is what it is. 5, I need you to do whatever it takes to learn about people and their differences. A great way to start with that would be if you see someone's hair texture that's a little bit different than yours. Why don't you reach out and touch it? It gives you a good sense of what's going on there. Now, the person that you reach out and try to touch their hair, they may pull away from you just a little bit. But don't worry, they don't understand what you were trying to do to help them. Okay, time out and pause. We've still pinky promised. If we've done any of those things, we're not gonna feel bad. We're still learning and growing. Okay, time in. Fair. 6, fair is always equal. And treat everyone exactly the same. no matter what's going on. You might hear something about accommodations being necessary, all of those things, but what's the phrase, you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit? Let's go along with that. 7, be as rigid as possible and wary of those flexible thinkers. We want to think outside the box, but we also don't want to get too crazy. 8, tell people that you don't see color or race. It makes them feel very, very seen and very appreciated. 9, if you are unsure about how a certain demographic group of people feels about any given topic, what you really need is just one person to sign off on it and let you know that it's not offensive. All it takes is one. And 10, every single person has a story, but it is up to you to determine whether it has validity or not. Everybody has their own experiences, but some things just don't sound right. Okay, so we've gotten through all 10, and you may be asking, okay, Katelyn, so what do I do if I want to promote or celebrate or embrace diversity within our communities? We're gonna get there. But first I want you to think for a second. I want you to think about a time that you entered a space and you felt wanted, welcome, even thought of before you entered the room. People made space for you. People made provisions for you. No one was inconvenienced by what they had to do to make you feel comfortable. You were considered. Tell me what that feels like. And then, I also want you to consider the alternative. A time where you showed up to a space and you were an afterthought. If someone had to make accommodations for you to be there, they seemed inconvenienced by that. They certainly didn't plan for you to come. They wouldn't be bothered if you left, and at some point, you're wondering if you even should be there. What does that feel like? Is there a difference between those two feelings? The reason we're discussing that is because one path that we've already explored creates one of those atmospheres, and the path we're about to explore creates the other one. Okay, so now, 10 ways that we can promote and celebrate and increase diversity within our communities. 1, allowing curiosity to be the passenger on the road trip, but maybe not the driver. So think about it this way. If you are on a road trip, curiosity is an amazing passenger. Think about the generative conversations you're gonna have, things that you would never considered before. That is who you want on the road trip as a passenger. One of the things that makes curiosity a great passenger and not a great driver is that curiosity may get a little sidetracked. You may have an extra 3 hours on your journey. I wonder where this takes me. Will you even get there? Who knows? Curiosity as the passenger looks like this. Tell me about your name. It's really, really beautiful. Curiosity as the driver. Tell me about your name. Where are you from? Cincinnati, but where are you really, really from? I see a little bit of something in there. You're not just one thing. You're a mix of something. Tell me where you're from. Make sure curiosity stays as a passenger. 2, it is okay to say less of what's on your mind. We all know what it's like to be in a room where you have a response, a comment, or a question, but when the room gets really, really quiet, whose job is it to fill the silence? What happens if we leave space for hesitation? What if we lean into those intentional, pregnant pauses? What if they give birth to the next great thought to be shared? It is okay if that thought doesn't come from you. 3, the best way to make someone feel uncomfortable is to shine a flashlight on all of their differences. We all know that there are ways that we are not the same, but why not choose to find places that we align instead? 4, know that language for terminology and groups of people will change over time. Know that we will not always get it right. Know that changed behavior and apologies go best when they are together. 5, in all of our exploration of people and differences and what we're trying to figure out, make sure you keep your hands to yourself. You may want to touch the hair or touch the clothes or figure things out, but touching people in any circumstances, that's kind of weird. We don't want to do that. 6, equality and equity are sisters, but they are not twins. Recognize when you need each one of them. 7, this is the way we've always done it, silences a lot of possibilities of what could be. 8, if you tell someone that you don't see color, all it makes them believe is that you need to get your eyes checked. We all see it. We all do. And we all need to. 9, there is no such thing as a spokesperson for a demographic group of people. We are all made up of the sum of our own life experiences, and it's not fair to set someone up for failure. And 10, every person has their own story, and the best thing that we can do is listen. So to close, I will leave you with the advice that I will give my own daughter. Keep inviting people. Set the table with them in mind. And once they get to you, make sure that they feel like that you were waiting, hopeful, and grateful that they arrived. Thank you.